Great. So just a few shoulder rolls to begin with before we get into the strap stuff. Again, we're thoracic mobility and shoulder stability. Well, I've just noticed how filthy the floor is. Change direction with your shoulder rolls. So really trying to get the shoulder blades moving as much as possible. And then, well, so I say same thing, few dislocates. If your strap type effect feels like maybe it's not ideal for this, then just go back to some slow, controlled shoulder rolls. Again, just trying to really get the shoulder blades, the shoulders themselves moving through. Oh, it's full of a range of motion. As possible. Making sure that you're not holding your breath, trying to keep some tension in your strap, trying to keep the arms straight. Try not to clench the jaw. Roll. And next time your arms are in front of you, pop your strap down. We're just going to take a couple of holds. So, firstly, we're not going to move through the whole up, down, in, out. We're just going to work through two of the main ones. So, you're just going to retract your shoulder blades. So, squeeze them towards the back of your body as much as you can. Try and make sure that you haven't stuck the chest, stuck the ribs out. So, try and keep the low ribs drawing in and down. Keep trying to squeeze the shoulder blades in more. So, instead of a squeeze and then holding, it's like a continual trying to squeeze a little bit further. Try and make sure they haven't crept up towards your ears as well. So we just want that retraction. Maybe give the head a little bit of a shake. Try and keep the neck free. If you're relaxed, keep squeezing. You might find that one shoulder, it feels like it takes a little bit more coaxing than the other. Keep breathing, last 5. 4, keep squeezing. 3, low ribs down. 2, and 1. So you're then going to take your arms all the way up to the ceiling and shrug the shoulders up to the ears, or as if you're pushing the ceiling away from you. Your hands can stay wide, or if you want to bring hands together, you can, but either way, you're trying to push the ceiling further, 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 further away. So keep pushing up, shoulders are right by the ears this time. Again, trying not to sit into the low back, but keep the low ribs hugging in, keep the tailbone, pelvis a bit more neutral, keep pushing up. So again, not one push and then a hold and letting it taper off. Keep actively pushing up, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up as much as you can. Shoulders all the way up to the ears. Good, keep breathing, more push, more breathing. 5, 4, 3, more push, 2, and 1. Nice. Release. Oh, few shoulder rolls. And then we'll get straight to it. So, from there, coming, completely forgotten what I'm doing. Coming to kneel. I'm just going to grab my nose. And coming to kneel on your mat. Excuse me. So as always, if kneeling is really uncomfortable, then don't worry about it. Find a different seat. But taking a moment now to drop in. So maybe let's start by taking attention to your shoulders. And just noticing if there's a little bit of warmth, maybe a bit of an ache, perhaps that's going on there. Is it more towards the back of the shoulders, the top, front? Is there any of that sensation? It might be quite subtle anywhere else, into the arms or down a bit lower towards the waist. Making sure to keep your jaw nice and relaxed. Just take a couple of little rolls of the head. Might be complete circles, it might just be a bit of kind of general, I nearly said swishing, it's probably not the right word. Gentle moving. Coming back to stillness. And taking your attention to your breath. Taking a moment just to find that focus. To make sure that we're not breathing just up into the chest, but directing the breath a little bit lower. Then focusing your breath into the back of your rib cage. So as you inhale, the lungs expand, but as if they're expanding a bit more into the back of the ribs and creating more expansion through the back of the rib cage itself. Of course, a bit of release, returning to a more neutral position with the out breath. And then directing your breath laterally into the sides of the rib cage. Just noticing if there's any expansion with the in-breath, followed by a releasing or returning with the out-breath. Try not to put tension into the body or into the breath. Then lastly, directing breath into the lower portion of the front of the rib cage. And releasing any particular focus or placement of the breath. When you're ready, open your eyes, tuck your toes under if you're kneeling. If you are not kneeling, then either using the hands to help flex the feet or just obviously on their own flexing the feet. So trying to open up a little bit more through the soles of the feet, the backs of the legs. So find a place to stay that feels bearable, whether it's a little bit more length forwards or more up onto the heels. And while you're there, assuming the hands are available, you're going to interlace the hands and figure eight the wrists. If both hands are not available, if you're using them for support, then maybe go a few circles on one hand, a few circles on the other. Changing direction with your figure of eights or with your circles. Still trying to surrender the weight of your pelvis towards your heels to continue opening up through the feet. Giving the hand a shake, finding a little bit of stillness, maybe closing your eye. I'm not going to stay here for that much longer. So instead of fighting it, just see if you can surrender to the sensation, the short time that you're going to be here. And then gently releasing. You're still going to stay in a kneeling position just for a moment. Take a moment, maybe tap the tops of the feet out, or kind of wiggle the feet, wiggle the ankles, but you're going to come back to kneeling, or again, you can take a cross-legged position, and it will work just as well, but the hands are going to come, hands or fingertips are going to come to the mat behind you. From there, really retracting the shoulder blades, squeezing in towards the spine, maybe adjusting the placement of the hands, and then keeping a bit of control, a bit of support around the low back, drawing in and up as you then lift the chest towards the ceiling, sending, again, front of the rib cage, up and forwards. So there will be a bit of an arch in the low back, but trying to keep a sense of space there. Make sure shoulder blades are retracted. Head could be either chin slightly more towards chest or face up towards the ceiling, depending on what's comfortable for the neck. Notice how this affects your breathing. One more round of breath. And with your exhale, releasing to a neutral spine, dropping your hips to the right, feet on the left, you're in that kind of mermaid position. and coming right arm over into a side bend. Trying to relax the hips, again, pelvis release towards the floor. You can stay still in your side bend, maybe a little bit of adjusting, of exploring, turning the spine, maybe circling your top arm. If the shoulder's sore, then the hand can come to the back of the head. So you're breathing some space through the right side of the body. You're going to come back up with the spine, release the arms, roll onto the outside of your right hip. No arms, no legs, as you bring the feet round in front of you into a boat pose and take a slightly awkward shuffle to the center of your mat-ish. Beautiful. Once you get there, planting the soles of the feet down, arms act as a palms up towards the ceiling, engaging lats, squeezing the elbows sort of towards each other. Keeping the soles of the feet on the floor as you breathe in, lifting the chest. As you breathe out, tucking the tailbone, taking a mini roll down. So not going all the way. If the feet start to lift, could you put them somewhere else so they can stay on the floor? The in-breath is going to lift you once again. And the out-breath, curling, rolling down. Arms stay active, so keep that going. Arms stay active. So we're trying to keep the collarbones and the neck free. Not letting them shrug up around the neck. Try to cleanse your jaw. Next time you breathe out, roll all the way down onto the floor, or onto your back rather. Tabletop position with the legs, and then they're going to drop over to your left-hand side. And what I would like you to do is stack your hips. So right hip directly on top of left, or use your knees as an indicator. Right knee directly on top of left knee. We're going to try and keep that there. Arms either straight out in front of you, right arm on top of left, or if you've not got a lot of space, cactus them. Without letting the hips roll, the pelvis, the right hip drop back. As you breathe in, right arm opens all the way out to the right side. And as you breathe out, you're coming back to where you started, either arms extended, or you've got that cactus shape of the arms. As you breathe in, you're opening the book, thinking of trying to get the right shoulder towards the mat, exhaling to return, but without letting the pelvis move. So your knees and your hips are going to stay stacked on top of one another, which will slightly restrict your range of motion. One more time. And as you exhale and come back to where you started, plant the right hand in front of the chest. You're going to use that to press yourself up. At the same time as you do that, you're going to send your right leg out along the floor towards the top of your mat. So you're going to find yourself in an asymmetrical sitting position, right leg out on the diagonal and the left knee bent. We're just going to roll the right hip forwards and back. So we're rotating that thigh bone, rotating the hip, pressing or lifting the right hip, the right side of the bum up and forwards, and then dropping it back down to the mat. You'll probably notice that as the pelvis moves, it creates a little bit of a change in what's happening in the spine. So next time the hip is forward, continue that little rotation of the chest. You're looking towards the back of the mat. Try and keep some space in the low back. You can stay here, maybe a little bit of gentle kind of snaking of the rib cage side to side. You can start to take it down into a bit more of a forward fold. So just exploring, okay, what's going on in my body? What feels right for me today? That snaking is an option, but you might prefer to be a little bit more still. But just bear in mind that we're trying to create a bit of space, a bit of freedom. So if it starts to get tense, you're gritting your teeth, then do a little bit less. So again, maybe invite in some movement, see if that helps to soften things. But you're going to bring yourself back up to neutral. Keep the left hand planted. You're going to bend your right knee and plant the sole of the right foot. Also, I'm going to bring my left heel more underneath my bum. It just makes it a bit easier to roll onto that shin and then lift the hip. So I'm in a short side plank, short supported side plank. You can of course extend that right leg. If you want something more for strength, then extend the right leg, plant the foot, see if you can squeeze your left knee up and away from the floor. 3, 2, and slowly coming to kneel, facing the top of your mat. Once you get there, the hips are going to drop over to the left, the feet will be on the right, and the left arm will be coming up and over into your side bend. I find this really difficult on this side. So if you feel like you're a little bit tighter, you can always just try and explore sitting in neutral and trying to encourage again that release of the pelvis. See if it's possible to find a comfortable or a slightly easier way for the spine to be. For the spine to be. When you're ready, bringing the spine back to neutral, no arms and no legs, rocking onto the outside of the left hip to find your way into boat pose, and then shuffling. I feel like I get worse at this every time I do it. Shuffling yourself sort of to the middle of the mat. And then planting the feet down. Arms active, little hug of the elbows in towards each other or down to the floor. The in-breath to lift through the chest and the out-breath, tucking the tailbone, pulling the tummy in, little roll down. In a few more times, maybe play around with where you put the feet. If we want to try and keep the feet on the floor, is there a place where it's easier, or maybe challenging yourself to find the position of the legs, but maybe that's much harder? The next time, rolling all the way down onto your back. Again, you're going to find that tabletop of the legs, and the legs will drop over to the right. Once again, make sure that you've stacked knees, stacked hips. Both arms are over to the right-hand side, either extended or cactus. The in-breath is open the left arm all the way to the other side. Make sure that left hip doesn't drop back. And the exhale brings you back to where you started. And as you breathe in, thinking of grounding the left shoulder or making it heavy, but without compromising the position of the pelvis. Working that rotation. Once you've done 4, the left hand is planted in front of your chest as you press yourself up to sit, send your left leg towards the top of the mat. Once again, you're in that asymmetrical spin around, asymmetrical position, left leg extended, right knee bent. The left hip rolling forwards and rolling back. So we're really rotating the left leg, and that in turn is affecting the pelvis and the spine. Next time you roll the left hip forwards, turning more towards the back of your mat, adjusting the hands, and again, maybe you stay here, try and think of space at the low back. Maybe you stay, maybe you start to work it a little more into a fold. Try and keep the breath moving. Try to create space, create freedom. Maybe identifying little pockets of tightness or resistance. Trying to make sure we're not gripping or tensing, locking up. But bringing the spine upright once again, planting the right hand, planting the sole of the left foot. Again, bring that right heel in underneath you a little bit more as you come up and work into your supported side plank. Not collapsing into the right shoulder, but pushing the floor away. And again, if you want a little bit more in terms of strength, picking the right knee up away from the mat. Really strong through the right arm, strong through the left leg for 3, for 2. Nice guys, and 1. Coming down to all 4s facing the top of your mat. As you find all 4s, a few scapular presses, the arms are going to stay completely straight. You're going to let the chest sink towards the floor, the shoulder blades will retract. And then without, again, bending the elbows, pushing the floor away, shoulder blades protract. So no bend of the elbows, a little dip of the chest, shoulder blades meeting towards the back of the body, and then pushing the floor away, the shoulder blades wrapping around the outside of the rib cage. And if this feels pretty good, you can step the feet back into a plank position, but it's really important that there's no movement of the low back or the pelvis. The tailbone is slightly tucked under. If you want something in between the two, then a 3/4 plank with the knees further back than the hips will also do the job. Well done, guys. Let's come back to all fours, thread the needle. So back of the right hand is going to come underneath the left armpit. Chin tucked into chest, so you're maintaining that length at the back of the cervical spine. And then you're creeping the left hand forwards, 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 and looking underneath the armpit. So you're trying to spiral your chest towards the ceiling. So you do want to get your left armpit out of your way as much as you can, if that makes sense. So I'm retracting my left shoulder blade. Hopefully still breathing. And then making your way back through all fours and into second side. Back of the left hand, threads underneath. Again, chin slightly tucked in towards the chest. Right arm reaching forwards. Spiraling a little more towards the ceiling. Nice deep breaths. And again, gently coming back to all fours. You're going to walk the hands forwards, just a touch, tuck your toes, sit back into a child's pose. So you may find you want to adjust where the arms are, but we're taking that baby wave variation. So cat pose, rounding the spine as you push through the feet, the hips move away from the heels, and the hips are going to continue to travel forwards and down towards the mat. The spine is going to lengthen, chest is open, so you end up in this kind of lazy up dog. And then chin to the chest, rounding the spine, pushing the hands forwards to come back into your child's pose. And pushing from the feet, cap the spine as you come forwards, little squeeze of the glutes, using the abdominals to support you as you come into that little back bend, neck is free and easy. And then again, back into your child's pose. A couple more times. Main aim, or one of the main aims here, is making sure that the neck stays long and stays free the whole time, which means the shoulders need to stay active. No hanging out with the shoulders by the ears. The hips don't have to come all the way down to the mat as well. How deep you take that back bend. It's really dependent on how it's feeling, how your back is feeling. The next time you're back in your child's pose, untuck your toes and just take a bit of time to rest there. If you'd rather take another position for your rest, then go for it. Find something that feels as restful as possible for you. Just to take a few breaths, notice how your body's feeling. And is your child's pose restful? Does it feel comfortable? And if not, why is it that we choose maybe to stay there? Is it because we feel like it's what we should be doing or how it should look? Are there any little adjustments that might make it feel a little bit easier? Even if it's just for today. When you're ready, you're going to come forward into a high plank position. The hand under the shoulders, excuse me, stepping the feet towards the back of your mat. Arms are strong and straight, no sinking of the chest, but pushing the floor away. Tummy is pulling in ever so slightly, sending the tailbone not towards the ceiling, but more towards the heels, drawing the pelvis underneath you. Bring your right hand to the middle of the mat. Even more now, push the floor away as you come into a side plank position, the left arm raised. You can, of course, bring the right knee down for some added support. But again, no hanging out in the right shoulder. Really push the floor away. You can try as well pushing your hand towards the top of the mat, which might make it feel like your hips kind of lift a little bit. That's okay, as long as you can feel that it adds some engagement sort of underneath the right armpit, if you like, or towards the side of the rib cage. You're switching sides, take your time, try and keep the shoulders active, everything nice and strong, take your time. Left hand down, either full or three-quarter plank, not sinking in the left shoulder. If you're in a full plank and you can't get that left shoulder blade away from your ear, bring your left knee down. It might take a bit of time to build that strength. You might have the strength through the core and through the legs, but if that shoulder is struggling, work with it, not against it. As the right hand comes down, once again, making your way into a downward facing dog. To give yourself some time to talk to any bits of the body that need it. If the wrists or the shoulders need a breather, give them a little break, give them a shake out. So just checking in, notice where your attention is. Is it on the shape that you're in? Is it on the aesthetics, the visual of it? Is it on the sensations? Is it on what you're going to have for breakfast? Take a moment to notice, and then you can adjust or refocus if you need to. Now I'm thinking about breakfast. Okay, when you're ready, start to walk your feet towards the top of your mat. You can get there however you like. My calves are super tight, so I'm going to take a little bit of time to get there. You've got your forward fold when you arrive, which again could be used as you feel, as you see fit. And just a little reminder that we're looking to create some space and some freedom in the body. When you're ready, making your way up to standing. So as always, there's no rush. You can get there however you like. And once you get to standing, you can either keep your feet sort of hip distance or you can bring them together. I'm not sure if one is easier than the other. I would say maybe if you've got unstable ankles, you might find it a bit easier with the feet together so you can squeeze the ankles in. But have a little play. So you're going to come up onto a rise. So you're lifting the heels. Legs are nice and strong. And trying not to kind of rock forward and rock back, but coming up in as much of a straight line as possible, keeping core nice and controlled. Keep the heels high and keep the hips stacked above the heels as you bend the knees. The knees are pressing forward, lift the heels higher. From there, with control, the heels are going to find the mat. You're going to have to slightly rock back and then straighten the legs. And again, so up into your rise. Knees press forwards as they bend, heels come higher. Slow, controlled rock back as the hips move back. And then straighten the legs, coming back to that straight line. One more like that. And I'm going to go the other way. So you'll start by taking that little squat. Then you're going to have to rock forwards to the balls of the feet. Lifting the heels, straighten the legs. You're still on the balls of the feet. And then set the heels down. I was about to say, I like to have one hand on my chest and one hand on my belly to help me feel like these 2 points are staying kind of close together and not getting too wild. But as I was about to say that, I fell over. So from your squat, lifting the heels, straighten the legs, straight up, and then the heels go down. One more like that. Okay, and then shaking the legs, circling the ankles, and then coming to stand at the top of your mat. So hopefully the feet, the ankles, the legs are all kind of quite awake now. So, standing at the top of your mat, you're going to come into your crane pose, your balance. So standing on the right leg and left foot is lifted. So with control, you're going to step the left foot back into a high lunge. And hopefully you'll land in a really long position without having to adjust that left foot. And you'll land with the heel lifted. Take a breath in, let the arms float as you arrive there. And as you take an exhale, start coming back into your crane pose. Push down through the right foot. Left knee comes forward. And again, so really using the bend in your right knee. As the left foot reaches back, you're counterbalancing with the spine. You're taking a breath in as the arms float. And as you take your breath out, start coming back into your crane pose. Remember, outer hips hug in. Always a sense of lift out of the waist. 2 more like that. Slow, slow, slow. Good, better, Freddie, well done. So once you've finished your 4, the left foot is in front of you, sorry, the left knee is in front of you rather. Retract, which says falling over, retract your shoulder blades, keep them squeezing together as you find a warrior 3. But there's quite a lot going on in your warrior 3, so find your setup and then refocus on the retraction and squeeze the shoulder blades. Staying in your warrior 3, take the arms overhead and imagine you're pushing the wall in front of you away. The same 2 actions that we took with the shoulder blade at the very start of your practice after your dislocates. Push more, push more, push more. For 3, for 2, and slowly coming to stand, 2 feet at the top of the mat. 1. Step your right foot back for a little calf stretch. 8. And then onto the other leg. So standing on the left leg, pick up the right foot 4 times, really, really slow, stepping back into your high lunge. Landing on the ball of the foot. Once that foot plants down, an in-breath to float the arms and an out-breath to start your transition back into your balance. Trying to really find your long lunge in one go. So you're not having to kind of hop that right foot in this instance further back. Good. Trying to control the pelvis, drawing in, drawing up, keeping the spine long, lengthened, lifted. And of course, take your time, but once you're back into that crane pose, that balance at the top of your mat for the 4th time, then retracting the shoulder blades, really squeezing them back as you work into your warrior 3 on the second side. You might find that as you're getting into your warrior 3, you sort of lose the shoulders a bit. That's fine, there's a lot going on. But once you find your balance, hopefully, then really squeezing the shoulder blades back and in, back and in, back and in. 3, 2, and then taking the arms overhead, so it's reaching forwards in front of you. And trying to push away, push, 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 push. The shoulders are up by the ears. For 5, push more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming to stand, top of the mat. Oh, and stretching off the left calf. Okie dokie. So, coming back to the top of your mat. You'll be standing on your right leg again, finding that crane pose. And this time, again, you're going to go as slowly as you possibly can. I'm going to give us a count of 10 to move from your crane pose into a long lunge with the left hand planted on the floor. If possible, left hand and left foot won't touch the floor until the very last count. So find your balance. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, in and up, really bending that right leg. 6, 5, 4, no collapsing. 3, getting longer. 2, and 1, eventually finding the floor. From here into a side plank, so no sinking in the right side. Push the floor away, and you can bring that, left side. You can bring the left knee down if you want to, but with control, finding your side plank variation. Feel free to add any bits and pieces with the legs that you fancy, whether it's dropping left knee, tree pose, or a hamstring stretch with that right leg. Maintaining that push, maintaining that stability around the left shoulder. Look towards the top of your mat, and with as much control as you can, as slowly as you can, step your right foot forwards. The back, from where it came from. 2 hands will then find the mat. They'll walk 90 degrees around to your left until you come into a wide-legged forward fold. So have a moment to find that. If you want to bring a prop to bring the floor a little bit closer towards you, you can do. The right hand then is coming to the floor underneath your face. Push the floor away with the right arm, again creating stability around the right shoulder. Lift the left arm into your twist. Stay there. Again, continuing to push down through the right arm, flow up through the left. We're trying to stack the shoulders one on top of the other. Think of steadying the chest further forward. 3, 2, 1. Release the left arm down, switching sides. Pushing the floor away, creating stability around the left shoulder. Right arm lifts. Rolling the shoulders back slightly. Keep trying to push the floor away with that left arm. Spine is long, so not sinking. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly releasing the right hand. Turn your right toes to the top of the mat. You're going to come up into a warrior 2. So bending the right knee, lifting the body. From here, you're going to take a side angle. The left arm is going to circle all the way over in front of your face. You're going to brush the floor, and it's going to bring you back up into a warrior 2. Stay low on the right leg. The right arm is going to reach back, reverse warrior. It's going to keep circling in front of your face. Probably not towards the floor, maybe. And back into a warrior 2. Straighten your right leg, take a breath in. As you breathe out, side angle, and you're going to pause. So whatever variation you're taking, whether it's forearm to thigh, fingertips to floor, a half bind or a bind. In fact, backtracking slightly. Bring forearm to right thigh. Left arm is going to come around the back of the body. Left fingertips are going to try and catch top of right thigh. Now for me here, my left shoulder really rolls forward. So I'm going to bring my right fingertips to my left shoulder and give myself a gentle adjustment to push and roll that left shoulder back. You could stay here or try and maintain that roll back and maybe release right forearm again to the thigh or fingertips to floor, or of course going for a full bind as well. So really trying to spiral the chest, open up through the front of the chest, the shoulders. When you're ready, slowly releasing. You're going to come into a high lunge. So have a moment to straighten off that right leg for a second. You're going to come to the ball of the back foot. I want you to find a bit of kind of push from that right leg, because, are you? Sure. From this right foot, you're going to push yourself to the back of your mat. So you want a bit of bounce, a bit of push to the back of your mat. Good, and then standing on your left leg, pick up your right, send it forward. You're going to take a long, silent step to the top of your mat. So I'm going to use a bend in my left knee, and as slowly as I can, long step, forwards. Good, from here, arms come all up to the ceiling, take a breath in. As you breathe out, forward fold, moving through a vinyasa or a sun salutation. You're coming back into your down dog. Of course, if you have a different variation that you're taking, go for it. From there into your plank pose. Bending the elbows, not letting the shoulders collapse towards the floor. Pushing down with the hands to open up into your back bend. And into your down dog. Nice. From here, look towards the hands. Step the feet in towards each other. and slightly further forward. You're going to take a few little bunny hops, pushing the floor away so the shoulders are right up by the ears. When you're ready, little bend of the knees, the heels are high. Few little bunny hops. Keep pushing the floor away. Shoulders up by the ears. Once you've taken 3 or 4, nice guys, and the feet will come to the top of the mat. And you'll come up to standing. Oh God. I'm going to turn myself around. I feel like the prospect of a handstand since having a baby seems so impossible. It's so hard. Oh dear. Anyway, stand at the top of your mat, standing on your left leg. I'm going to count down from 10 so you can find your long lunge. Stepping right foot back and right hand down to the mat. Okay, here we go. Find your balance. Take a breath in. And you've got 10, 9, 8, 7. I feel like I'm going faster. I'm going to slow down. 6, in and up. 5, 4. Don't obsess about the floor. Obsess about the lift. 3, 2, and 1. From here into your side plank. No sinking in the right shoulder. Push the floor away. Again, this is the most important thing. Even if you're like, no, I can totally do a side plank. But if you're collapsing in that right shoulder, bring the right knee down. Work the shoulder specifically. Long neck. Strong arm, strong shoulder. Keep it there. 3, 2. Look towards the top of the mat. As slowly as you can, you're going to step your left foot forwards, coming back into that lunge. If anything, you need to push the floor away more with the right shoulder, with the right arm. Once you find your lunge, 2 hands to the mat, they walk 90 degrees to your right, so you come into your wide-legged forward fold. Same as before, but we're going to work it with the breath. So planting the left hand under your face this time. As you inhale, push down through the left arm, float the right arm up, shoulder blades retract. Exhale to release. Keep your left hand on the floor, same side. Breathe in, push down through left arm, right arm floats, shoulder blades roll back, chest reaches forwards. Exhale to release. One more time, breathe in. Twist. Breathe out, release, change sides, right hand down. Inhaling, push the floor away, roll the shoulders back, left arm floats, chest forwards, exhale to release. And again, breathing, active. Twist. Exhale to release. One more time, breathe in. Breathe out to release. I definitely held my breath there, I don't know about you. But turning left toes to the top of the mat and finding your way into a warrior 2. Ooh, from that warrior 2, side angle, the right arm is going to circle up towards the ceiling, over in front of your face, down towards the floor, and bring you back into your warrior 2. Reverse warrior, left arm reaches up and back. It circles in front of the face, towards the floor, and back into warrior 2. Breathe in, straighten your left leg. Breathe out, side angle with a half bind. So maybe the left forearm comes to the thigh for a moment as that right arm reaches around the back of the body, right fingertips to the top of the right thigh. This is just something that I sort of did by accident the other day and I found actually quite useful. So left hand then is coming towards the right shoulder. I'm giving myself a little adjustment, pushing the right shoulder back. It's also rotating my chest, my spine, that thoracic mobility a little bit more. And again, I can stay here, or I can work to maintain that little bit of extra while I release my left hand to the floor, to the forearm, or to catch right hand in the full bind. Still breathing. Good, you guys. Releasing, coming into your high lunge, so onto the ball of the back foot. You might want to make your lunge slightly shorter. So you've got a little bit more push from that left foot to find the back of your mat. Yes, nice save. Coming onto your right leg. Picking up the left foot, bend the standing knee, long silent step forwards. Once you get there, yes, guys. Reaching the arms up, take a breath in, moving through a vinyasa, exhale to fall. Back into your downward facing dog. And moving your way through. Keeping that control around the shoulders. The freedom of the neck. Once you are in your downward facing dog again, you can stay there for a couple of breaths or make your way down into a child's. In fact, no, sorry, bring your knees down to the mat, keep the hips high, melting heart or puppy pose. So walking the hands forwards, softening the chest, down towards the floor. At the same time, maybe thinking of lifting the sit bones a little bit higher, creating a bit more traction. Keep breathing. Walking the hands back in and coming to sit on your bum with the legs in front of you, knees bent and soles of the feet on the mat. Ooh. Okay. So we'll build this up in layers. It's a really good one for shoulder stability as well as for thoracic mobility, but also can just be a bit full on and a bit intense. So initially, the first thing you need to feel comfortable in is a reverse tabletop. Yes, that's correct, a reverse tabletop. Hand on the floor behind you, either fingertips pointing away. That's going to be more kind of opening across the front of the chest if that feels a bit much. Fingertips out towards the side. But lifting the hips and making sure that the shoulders again aren't sinking. So elbows are straight, but you're pushing the floor away. So you're nice and supported, nice and stable around the shoulders. Hips are high. 3, 2, 1. Slowly bringing the hips down. Try and keep the shoulders strong the whole way. So this time, keep the right hand on the mat. So you're just going to keep adding on. So lean slightly over to that right side, and you're going to come up, just using the right hand and the 2 feet. Really strong through the right arm. Setting the hips down. Again, try not to collapse in the right shoulder. Try and keep it strong. And then switching sides. The left arm will come down. Slightly lean your way onto it already. Push the floor away. Strong around the shoulder. Lift the hips. And keeping that stability around the left shoulder as you bring the hips down. For me, that's the challenging part, is to maintain that stability as I lower when I just want to collapse and fall. Moving on again. So if at any point you're like, that's enough for me, just stay with that variation. If you want to add on, again, onto that right side, super strong, lifting up. You're going to stay here as you breathe in, left arm up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, it's going to come down towards the floor. Keep strong in the right arm. Inhale to lift up, left arm. Strong around the right shoulder. Exhale, left arm towards the floor. Push down more through the right arm. Inhale, open it up. Exhale as you close it. Don't sink, but if anything, get higher. And again, inhale, lifting up. And exhale. To close, bring the hips down. And switch side. 4 times on the second side. I don't know if I made it very clear, but just in case, when you're in that kind of closing position, if that makes sense, so you've got the in-breath to open, the exhale to close, you are trying to lift up, but also to rotate the chest more towards the floor. That's that kind of thoracic mobility element. So you do want to try and look to the floor, but whilst lifting the hips higher. Okay, lifting it up. So leaning onto the left arm, nice and strong, lifting up. Breathing in, open it up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, push down more with the left arm. As the right arm comes over, comes down. Inhale, open it up. Keep the hips high, legs strong, glutes squeezing. Exhale, rotate. Inhale to lift. Exhale, push down more, stay strong in the left arm. One more time. Good, you guys. Exhale to release slowly, coming down. Give the wrists a couple of circles. Give the shoulders a few rolls. I'm going to get a bit closer. I can actually definitely see you. Do we want to go one more, one further? Thumbs up. Okay, brilliant. I was really hoping you were all going to say no. Okay, so all you're going to be doing this time is switching from one side to the other, if possible, without putting the hips down. So you're going to lift up in your reverse tabletop, 4 points on the floor. Shifting the weight over to your right side, strong in the shoulder, as the left arm comes all the way over, lift the hips higher, opening it all the way out, bringing the left hand to the floor. Roll the shoulders back, stay strong, lean it over, and the right arm comes across. So switching right side to left side. Maybe gets a little bit funky in the middle, that's okay, as long as you re-establish that stability on your supporting arm. There's a lot happening. One more on each side. And we're really trying to push the floor away with the arm that's on the floor. Trying to keep the hips high. And when you're done, just have a little second to sit for a moment. Circle the wrists, release the shoulders. I don't know if you guys found that as traumatic as I did. But have a moment to sit and just let all of that settle. And you're allowing a bit of space for your breath to become a little slower, a little calmer. For your energy to move down out of that kind of head, chest, oh my God, space. And down more towards the base of the spine to become more grounded. Noticing the heat, the tingle in the hands, the fingertips. Sensations at the wrists, maybe the elbows, the shoulders, and the side of the body. When you're ready, making your way down onto your back. And I was gonna take us into a twist. So if that feels like an, oh yes please, then take it into a twist. I suddenly feel like I'm gonna go for a happy baby. So if you'd rather take a happy baby or anything else, go for it. So twist is where I was planning on taking us. If anything else is calling out to you, take that option. If you're in your twist, keeping the shoulder blades heavy. Allowing your breath to settle. Maybe it's moving naturally. Maybe you're taking consciously slightly slower, deeper breaths. If you're in your twist, Slowly starting to change sides. Readjusting if you need to. If you're not in a twist, of course you can stay where you are, or you can take something slightly different. Wherever you are, slowly making your way back to center. Getting ready to move into Shavasana. So as always, if there is anything else, another part of your body that just doesn't feel quite ready, quite comfortable enough to become still, then give yourself some time to move, again, to minimize that distraction of physical discomfort as much as you can. But whenever you're ready, making that commitment to find a bit of stillness in whatever shape or form. Seeing if you can make that transition from doing to just being, to taking a step back, relinquishing control, and just observing. Observing the movement of your breath, observing physical sensations as they arise, observing thoughts, trying not to get too invested, too involved in any particular one of them. Gently just starting to bring yourself back into the space around you. Maybe it starts with a deepening of your breath. Perhaps by just becoming a little more aware of the sound, sensations of the space around you. Taking your time to move, get back into your body, maintaining a sense of weight, and hopefully a sense of ease, patience, not rushing, as you gradually find your way to a comfortable seat. Taking a bit of time when you arrive to check in with your physical body, to move if you need to, if you want to. Just to sit with and sit in the effects of your practice. There's always anything useful, anything interesting, keep hold of it, take it with you. Anything which was not so good, didn't sit right, or just didn't make a lot of sense for you today, let it go. Doesn't matter, make space for something new. But thank you as always, taking the time out and getting out of bed early on a Saturday morning. I appreciate it. Even though I think it's a light in for you, Freddie, but thank you all the same. Have a lovely weekend. Erin and Sally, enjoy your holiday. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks, guys.